What's up, everyone, and welcome to the next round of the Output Racing League season here live from the Watkins Glen International Raceway. And welcome to what should surely be a excellent event. This one sponsored by AK Racing, as I just realized that I don't have my little standings up. I must rectify right now. Come on, standings banner. Load. There we go. Looks like the drivers are already getting going here. So it's going to be the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez on the pole with Christian Budd in the 50 out of P2 here for the pit party. We got the drivers to line up on the back straight because shorter pace lap then. So we'll see how the drivers go as we get around. They're making their way through the last couple of corners. We're going to keep our eye on Christian Budd because he has been the absolute class of the field with a 1:09.3, 1.06 seconds clear of Jonathan Hernandez, who was second in practice so far. As we get the green flag, they are off and racing. And Christian Budd already out to an early lead. And we already have death and destruction in the background. Many cars taken out. Just one of them being Brian Chambliss. I think Matt Burgess was involved as well. Back this up, see what happened. Chambliss has Frank just behind him. And that's what caused it. Frank got into him. And they went bowling into turn one. And look at the lead already that Christian Budd has amassed over the 88 of Hernandez. Christian Budd's definitely going to be hard to beat as he slides it into turn one. And slides it out of turn one just for good measure. There's a dead car there in the background. We're going to go focus on crashes. Have a look at what's going on around the track. We're looking at the 90 of Michael Sturgill. Few cars coming into the bus stop chicane. There's the 5 of Mark Pinsick, the 24 of Frank Isaacson. Off into the tyre barrier. You see Corey Williamson here just tucked up behind the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Got Kyle Kraus and Sam Niederhelm as well. Currently Corey Williamson 4th in the standings for practice. As Jonathan Hernandez gets it all wrong coming out of turn one. Goes for a little bit of a spin. There's the 66 of Niederhelm there. Mark Pentecoff goes a little bit too deep into turn one. Same too with Chambliss. Oh, and Frank's got it wrong coming out of the S's. The S's are definitely going to be catching some people out throughout the race. Well, it's Chris Champeau exploring the track limits on the exit of the carousel. Corey Williamson gets around him very nicely. Chris Champeau currently down in 17th on the standings. At the moment, the standings here for practice is Christian Budd with, as I said, that 1.06 second gap over Jonathan Hernandez in P2. And it's Matt Horton in third, Corey Williamson fourth, Brian Pizzicami fifth, Thomas Harmon has snaked his way up to P6, Michael Sturgill sitting in seventh, Gary Waterworth eighth, Matt Burgess ninth, Travis Massier 10th, Darren Sanchez on the outside of the top 10 looking in, sitting in 11th. Kyle Kraus is 12th. Sanchez just moved himself up to 9th. Now we've got Frank Isaacson in 13th, Brian Chambliss 14th, Dan Niederhelm in 15th, Brandon Bennett P16, Chris Champeau 17, Andrew Perkins currently 18th, and Mark Pentecoff sitting in 19th. 7 seconds off the pace. Oof. Oh, that sucks for Mark. Hopefully he can get a few laps done here. Oh! As Williamson gets spat off, I think he got a little bit of a tap there from Kyle Kraus. That was definitely sketchy, as you saw Travis Massier there just parked up in the middle of the bus stop as Mark Pentecoff goes around, and in the background Kyle Kraus also going for a spin coming out of the S's. But the 12 of Matt Burgess was going to go join them in the middle of the bus stop there. We've got Sanchez and Michael Sturgill on screen. Gary Waterworth having a spin going into the pits. Looks like we're possibly getting another pit party here. Few cars and drivers lined up in the bus stop. Someone should tell Christian to line up at the back. Make him work his way through. They should also say that to the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. As we start to get the rolling going on here. But Hernandez is going to take the point. And on his outside will be the 48 of Andrew Perkins. Before Jaron Sanchez pulls over to the side to drop to the back. And so does the 60 of Kyle Kraus. No one wanted to line up in that left lane. guys have got to get themselves sorted out shortly. Alright, here we go. And Hernandez with a big jump early. And it looks like we've already got shenanigans ensuing. It was mostly towards the back. I'm not sure who it was. Might have been Sturgill and Waterworth. Fairly short laps around the Watkins Glen International Raceway here. And most of the field in the 1 minute 11 range by the looks of things. Oh, as the 38 of Thomas Harmon goes for a half lose right in front of Brian Pizzakemi. Oh, and Frank getting a hurry up from him as well. Kyle Kraus has gone around right in a very dangerous position. Need a helm, nowhere to go, straight into him. Mark Pentecup has gone around as well. Welcome to road course racing, boys. See Travis Massio on screen. He's got Frank Isaacson just in front of him. Corey Williamson just behind him. And Thomas Harmon just behind Corey. Travis trying to look for an outside move on the 24 of Frank Isaacson. While Corey Williamson got it all wrong in the grass and gave a tap to the 38 of Thomas Harmon, who continued on to his credit. Got Joan Sanchez there, not sure what happened to him. Looked like possibly him trying to get into the pits and it not working out. Here comes Thomas Harmon now trying to make a move on Frank. Not going to work out for him this time. As we now look at Matt Horton, currently P3. A second and a half off the leading time and half a second off of Jonathan Hernandez. There is Christian Budd, who to his credit has worked his way through to about third in the pit party. He's got Matt Burgess in front of him as Andrew Perkins has spun around. Matt Burgess in front of him in a 12. And then just beyond that is the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. There's the 60 of Kyle Kraus. Getting it wrong. I'm pretty sure that was towards the final corner. Everyone's got about the same amount of little bit of a grouping on the track here. as Christian Budd now desperately looking for a way around the 12 of Matt Burgess. Just about snuck his nose up the inside in the carousel. That could be a very dangerous place to stick the nose. Some people like to run it wide and then cut in, diamond the corner, so to speak, you know, the old dirt racing trick when the track goes slick. You see there Christian Budd using the entirety of the track. Frank Isaacson puts himself into the wall. That's the short shoot between the two final corners. This time Matt Burgess goes very wide in turn 1. It's all the invitation that Christian Budd needed. Now let's see how quickly Christian Budd can close in on the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. And in fact, the next lap, we're going to go on board with Christian Budd for the lap. See what it's like to drive around a lap here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. So we'll jump into his car when he comes out of turn 4. Oh, sorry, not turn 4, the final turn. And here we go. This is going to be a lap of Watkins Glen. From third gear, you only shift down into second. You can take first, but you want to be very gentle on the throttle coming out. That curb can really unsettle the car. Up to third just before the start of the S's. You can hear the car fighting at the very edge of adhesion. Getting up to fourth gear, just coming out of the S's now to the bus stop. Drop it down into second. Power out, stay in second for the carousel. You're waiting on the throttle a lot when you're on old tyres here. Up into third. Do we get fourth? No fourth gear. Back down to second. Using all the track on the exit. Maintaining second gear. Come back out onto the front straight. Use all the curve on exit. And that is a lap around the Watkins Glen International Raceway. And that lap time was a 1 minute 12.4. Put that into perspective for you. Check out what this dynamic TV camera angle's like. This is a brand new camera pack that I've got here. Was offered to me by one of the drivers that I'm trying out. I haven't played around with it completely yet. This just looks like a chopper cam. I thought this was meant to be dynamic TV. So this one is the static cams, so let's see what the static cams look like. We're still focused on Christian Budd here, who hasn't quite caught up to Jonathan Hernandez just yet. Still running faster times than Jonathan Hernandez, but it's only to the tune of about 0.2 of a second. Gotta tell you, some of these camera angles are loud. Damn. Ooh, 12 for Matt Burgess getting it wrong coming out of the first corner. We also have a little bit of a battle here between Christian Budd and Corey Williamson. Williamson on fresher tyres. Actually, no, he's not on fresher tyres. He's on similar tyres to that of Christian Budd. And last lap, he was actually faster than Christian. So if Christian started from the back, he could possibly struggle to actually get towards the front here. Well, at the very least until they go for pit stops anyway. Yeah, there's heaps of camera angles I gotta try here. This one's the pacing camera angles. Another little bunch of static cameras that are meant to be used for under pacing conditions. Oh, it's Christian Budd experimenting with some alternate dimensions. Could this be the secret of his speed? Picking up time from alternate dimensions? We'll have to wait and see. This one's called the driver intro cam. This one's not bad. I like how it's not exactly static to the one spot around the car. Let's go random TV. See what random TV gives us. Sometimes random TV can have a nice little mix of just everything, which is what we like to see. See, the start finish one's not working. So that's a little bit sad. See what roll bar looks like. Roll bar's inside the car. This is basically like the static gyro cam. Big grid. Oh yep, this is grid. Hi Thomas Harmon, bye Thomas Harmon. See what TV3 has to offer for us. Oh, as here comes Matt Horton in the 9. Just about going for a big dive there. And now let's go back to TV1. And let's also go back to focusing on crashes. Oh, there goes Michael Sturgill around at the final corner. Manages to hold on and keep on going though. Now it looks like we're just not kind of focused on anyone there for a second. That was weird. I guess it was still continuing to focus on Christian Budd for some reason. There's Brandon Bennett in the 1. Oh, drama for the 88 and the 48. Hernandez and Perkins. Now just watch Christian Budd pull away from everyone now that he's got the fresh tyres on. I do like the spec mapping that's on that 90 car at the moment though. And that shiny gold chrome effect is really wicked. Got about 2 laps left in the practice here. 2 minutes left on the clock. So it's almost time for us to start getting ready to get into qualifying. What we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go into a quick commercial break, and when we come back we should be revealing how the grid is going to be set here for the AK Racing 100 live from the Watkins Glen International Speedway. Will Christian Budd be on the pole? Will he take an EOL and start from the back? Those are questions that we're going to find out the answers to here shortly, live on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. So make sure you guys stay tuned for what should be an interesting start to the race after we find out these quality results. Welcome back, guys, to the AK Racing 100 here from the Watkins Glen International Raceway. Qualifying has just ended, so we are just about to see who is going to be gridding up where. And it looks like Christian Budd is going to be on the pole. On his outside will be the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. P3 is going to be the 6 of Evan Rice, with the 22 of Gary Waterworth out of P4. The 2 of Christian Budd will be out of 5th, with the 90 of Michael Sturgill out of P6. Thomas Harmon in the 38 will be out of 7th, with Frank Isaacson in the 24 out of 8th. Kyle Kraus in the 60 will be out of 9th, the 48 of Andrew Perkins out of 10th. The 12 of Matt Burgess will be from 11th, with the 9 of Matt Horton out of 12th. Brendan Bennett in the 1 will be out of 13th, with the 5 of Mark Penticuff out of 14th. Brian Pizzakemi in the 78 will be out of 15th, with the 66 of Sam Niederhelm out of 16th. 17th will be the 13 of Travis Massia, with the 81 of Corey Williamson being out of 18th, and 19th will be the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, and 20th, if he makes the grid, will be the 21 of Brian Chambliss. So that is the way the grid has been set. As the cars start to roll off from the grid. Got 40 laps to tackle here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway, which makes the 100 miles for the AK Racing 100. The wind is blowing south at 14 kilometers per hour, which means it's pushing them down the front straight, and it's pushing against them as they're going along the back straight towards the bus stop. Track temp is 39 degrees, which is just under 100, I do believe. The air temp is 28, so that's a nice balmy 70-ish degrees. See the entire field pacing here, getting ready to get the green flag. Possibly not going to be any cautions in this race, because it is a road course. The field starts making their way through to the final corner. And the pace car is in. And we are off and racing. And we're side by side into turn 1 with Hernandez and Christian Budd. Everyone in the back looking like they're playing nicely, unlike when we were in the pit parties. And Hernandez taking the advantage and taking the lead as we come out of the S's. Here comes Christian Budd now. Got a very strong run. Not going to make the move this time. Going to save it a little bit. Possibly going to save his tyres a little bit. The long way to go as we've got one going through the grass. Not sure who that was. I think that might have been Gary Waterworth in the 22 car. Oh, as we got a spin in the background, there's the 12 of Matt Burgess. The 1 of Brandon Bennett involved. I think the 9 of Matt Horton also involved. Possibly the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi. And the 13 of Travis Massia. Let's back this up and see what happened. And it's the 1 of Brandon Bennett. Came up, gave a tap to the 12. Then Netcode did the rest. Sent the 12 around, back into the 1. The 9 into the grass, trying to avoid. And he hit the tyre barrier there. Come back across the track right in front of Pizzakemi. The 13's gone around to try and avoid everything. Jaron Sanchez. I don't know how he did not hit a damn thing there. Let's go back and take another look at this melee from his view. Great reactions there by Sanchez. And still Hernandez in the lead of this race though. Christian Budd now sizing up a move going into turn 1 possibly. No, not this time. Evan Rice also right there with our leaders at the moment. We have 2 cars a lap down. One of them is the 60 of Kyle Krause. The other one is the 1 of Brandon Bennett, who is actually still in the pits. Chambliss, unfortunately, not making the grid. It looks like Hernandez could possibly run away with this race here a little bit, by virtue of just getting the good jump there at the start. Christian Budd unable to try and make a move at the moment. Christian Budd just gets such an excellent run going through the S's there. He is ranging right up to the back of Hernandez. Just going to have a little look maybe just to get a little bit of air on the grill, a little bit of downforce on the front end. Not going to make anything of it. Gained 4/10 on Hernandez in that first sector alone. See what he can do here coming out of the carousel. And Hernandez gained back 3/10 there. At the line, it was another 1/10 gained by Christian Budd, so he gained 2/10 for the entire lap. Have a look at the back of Hernandez's car here. Christian is right on his tail. He's possibly going to go for the move. He is going to go for the move. To the inside goes Christian Budd, and Jonathan Hernandez lets him go. Very nicely done by both those drivers. Let's go back to focus on crashes here for a little bit. Let's see if we can see anything going on in the rest of the pack. Unfortunately, as I said, because this is a road course, we're not going to get cautions when we have big crashes like what we had coming out of the carousel there on the first lap, which has unfortunately claimed the car of Brandon Bennett, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be possibly out of this race, still sitting in the pits getting repairs done. We don't have a repair clock here in the Output Racing League. That's because we want cars on track. We don't care about how fucked up they are, and that is my one for the broadcast. And now we're going to the mid packs here. Looking at the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi, who has a little bit of damage on his nose. But the lap down car of Kyle Kraus behind him, as there was a spinner there in turn 1. That was the 81 of Corey Williamson. He looked very strong in practice. And it looks like Sam Niederhelm let Pizzakemi and Matt Horton go there into the second corner. Travis Massier just behind Kyle Kraus as well. So this is a tight little group that we got going on. As Niederhelm swings wide in the carousel to allow Kraus through. Corey Williamson has gotten himself going again, but he's 7.5 seconds behind this little group that we're watching. Niederhelm just taking it very gingerly here in the early laps. Possibly just looking for his own bit of track just so he can look after his car. As now Darren Sanchez slows up a little bit, allows Matt Horton through and the 60 of Kyle Kraus. And he's going to just tag onto the back of this little pack. And Christian Budd is pulling away from Hernandez to the tune of about 2.5 seconds at the moment. Oh, and Thomas Harmon has had a spin. Not very often we see Thomas having a spin. Let's see what's happened here. So he was behind Chris Champeau coming into the bus stop. Oh, and just locked up the rear brakes all by himself. Sent it sideways. That is unfortunate for Thomas Harmon, sitting down in 7th at the moment. Go back to looking at the 13 of Travis Massier, down in 14th. Trying to look for a way around the 4 of Jaron Sanchez here, who is up into 13th. As we're now looking at Matt Horton and Kyle Kraus. Kyle Kraus, as I alluded to earlier, 1 lap down. There's Jaron Sanchez on screen just behind Kraus. And he's got Travis Massier now on his tail just behind him. Both of those cars, well actually Travis's car with a little bit of damage, and Jaron's car, a little bit of crinkling on that left front. I think he possibly might have hit a curb or possibly one of the walls on the back. I haven't seen him getting into another car yet. And it looks like the one of Brennan Bennett finally making a return back to the track. 8 laps down. As our leaders are about to start lap number 11. That's going to be 10 laps down, 30 to go. And we are only 12 minutes into this race. So all in all, this race should take about 48 minutes, so just under an hour. Let's go have a look at our second place runner in Jonathan Hernandez. He's trying to break out of the draft range of Evan Rice here, but Evan Rice, to his credit, still just right there in Hernandez's mirror. So it looked like Rice might have made a mistake coming out of the bus stop. Still sitting at about that 1 second mark here though. As Christian Budd has a 1.5 seconds over Hernandez still. As Christian Budd's made a mistake, he went deep into turn 1. And that has allowed Jonathan Hernandez to retake the lead. Now it's all going to be on Evan Rice to maybe try and take second place here away from Christian Budd. Let's have a look out of the gearbox of Hernandez here. At this battle that's starting to ensue for second place. Evan Rice on the inside trying to take the position away. Possibly a little bit of contact there through the carousel as Christian pinching Evan down hard. I think we might be a little bit too far away from that ensuing battle now, so let's just focus on these guys. This is going to be a very hard fought battle for second place. Christian this time manages to make it through turn 1 without too much drama. 6 of Evan Rice starting to drop off from behind him here a little bit. Hernandez now is the car with the 1.5 second advantage. So it's going to be all up to Christian Budd to try and make that time back, as Sam Niederhelm in the 66 is in the pits. And he's got a lot of damage. Let's see if we can see what happened here to Niederhelm. Might have to back it up just a little bit. Oh, here we go. So he's going through the carousel. Oh, just gets loose on exit. Oh, and he got hooked by the wall. That's unfortunate. Hernandez pulling away from Christian Budd now. Evan Rice stronger than Christian Budd in the second half of the lap. Christian has a lot of pace going through turn 1 and up the S's. He just seems to lose a little bit after he comes out of the carousel. So I was like, for half the lap, Christian's really good. But for the other lap, he's kind of average. You see right there, Evan Rice closing right in, getting sideways behind Christian Budd there. As it looks like the 66 of Niederhelm has entered back into the track. Going to be 4 laps down. As our leaders are negotiating their first lap car, which is the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. Unfortunate for Mark that he just hasn't really found any pace here. Ooh, as he locks up and just about got into the back of Evan Rice there. As I think we're going to go back to focusing on crashes now. See where everyone's at. See what's going on around the track. There's Kyle Kraus getting loose coming out of the bus stop. I think he was able to hold on to that though. The back tyre is definitely wearing out for a few of these drivers. So the 81 and the 13 here are embroiled in a little bit of a battle. Corey Williamson and Travis Massio respectively. Corey wanting to take 13th away from Travis. They got the pacey lapped car of Brandon Bennett right behind them. Brandon experimenting with some alternate dimensions, trying to get his laps back. There's a 9 of Matt Horton going off the track in the second part of the bus stop. He's on the same lap as the 13 and the 81. Sam Niederhelm there, not exactly losing any pace. Holding it with these guys after getting caught by the wall. But let's go back to our leading battle now. And I say battle because Christian Budd has been closing in ever so slightly on Jonathan Hernandez here. As Hernandez gets sideways coming out of turn number 11. But they've definitely started to drop Evan Rice, so Evan Rice 2 seconds back behind Christian. As we are nearing the halfway mark here. The 4 of Jaron Sanchez is off the track just in front of our leaders. Couldn't see his car. See where he is. There he is. See what happened to Sanchez here. Oh, he just gave it too many berries coming out of the bus stop. Got it that little bit sideways. And that is unfortunate for him. But we're going back to the leading battle here between Hernandez and Budd. Hernandez running a little bit wide in turn 1, and that's allowed Budd to really close up on him. We know how strong Christian Budd is here in the first sector of the lap. Going up through the S's is his strongest point. Oh, Hernandez getting it a little bit sideways coming out of the carousel. Hernandez starting to push a little bit harder to try and keep Christian Budd at bay. As we've got a few cars that have come in for pit stops. Our leaders are coming in for pit stops. This is going to be the halfway point when they reach the start-finish line. There we go. 20 laps down, 20 laps to go. We are halfway in this race. Let's see how the race off pit lane is going to happen here. Because all 3 of these drivers are tightly packed in. See in the background now also Jaron Sanchez coming in for a pit stop. 22 and the 38 are in. And it is going to be the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez with the advantage coming out. Looks like Christian Budd might have spun his tyres a little bit. And doing a little bit of drifty action coming out of the pits as well. And they've still maintained their lead. Brian Pizzicami finds himself in 4th. The first car who hasn't stopped yet. So that goes to show how much time these guys had over Brian Pizzicami, who was well down the order. They were able to stop and get out in front of him. Have a look. 37.1 was the fastest time through the pits, and that was by Christian Budd. But now that we've had these pit stops one and done, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will be going to the conclusion of this race, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the AK Racing 100 here from the Watkins Glen International Raceway. And Jonathan Hernandez is still holding on to a very small lead here over Christian Budd. And now we're starting to get into the lap traffic. And we just found out that Brian Chambliss is unable to race because he had an electrical issue with the car. That's why he did not take the start, an electrical issue with the car, and they could not get it rectified for the start of the race. As you see there, Kyle Kraus very smartly pulling over to the side to allow the leading pair through of Hernandez and Budd. And they've started to drop Evan Budd well and truly off the back of them here, as they are very quickly catching up to the 13 car of Travis Massio, who is sitting in 14th at the moment. The last car one lap down. Sorry, the last car on the lead lap. Everyone has made their green flag stops. I also see Mark Pentecuff in the pits, so something has happened to Mark. Not sure what. Possibly for his normally scheduled pit stop, but I can't be sure for that. Christian showing the nose to Hernandez this time. Trying to put Hernandez off his game, and it worked a little bit. Here comes Christian Budd now up the inside of Hernandez in the carousel. And this could be the move of the race. Oh, Christian getting loose coming out of the carousel. Hernandez getting into the grass. But Christian is going to hold on to the lead that he's just regained from Hernandez after the green flag stops. Now it's going to be all up the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez to try and take the lead back away. Christian Budd already pulling away here a little bit. Check out the nose cam of Hernandez here. This is what 0.6 of a second looks like, guys. Very close quarters at the moment. I think because we haven't done one of these in a little bit on the next lap, we might go do a crank it up. So we'll wait for these guys to come out of turn 11 again, and then we'll go to the specified camera angles for the crank up. And I'll mute my mic and we'll enjoy the sights and sounds of these NASCARs flying around this Watkins Glen International Raceway. As here we go through turn 11, it's time to crank it up. Alright, we are back. And that was possibly the best 2 laps that we're going to see here today. Because damn, these things sound amazing around this track. Christian Budd still maintaining his lead. It's about 1.4 seconds now. Remember the last time he got a lead like this, he put himself away in the final corner. Oh, sorry, it wasn't the final corner, it was the first corner. Went wide in the first corner. So let's go focus on crashes as we've got 10 laps left to run in this race. Don't worry, we'll go back onto the leaders for the last couple of them. We're looking at the 81 of Corey Williamson, who was in 11th and embroiled in a big battle here between himself, Andrew Perkins, and Matt Horton. So this is the battle for 10th. It's a 3-car battle. And not far behind them is actually the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch up to these guys in time. Oh, as Andrew Perkins in the 48 gets loose coming out of the final corner. Will we see any moves here into turn 1? No, not this time. I do see the leaders looming in the background though. And it looks like Andrew Perkins there with a lot of rear end damage. You know what they say when you got more rear end damage than you do front end damage, and that's you're not going fast enough. It looks like Andrew Perkins that time staving off the battle with Williamson. Williamson just not quite getting a good of a run through the S's, as this time Williamson receives a whack from the 9 of Matt Horton, and Matt, I think, just got disqualified as he has just disappeared from the screen and he has been scored as 15th place. So Matt Horton reached his 17x limit and is now out of the race. And what we're seeing here on screen now is also a battle for 8, between Frank and Matt. So Frank Isaacson and Matt Burgess battling it out here for the 8th position. With 9 laps to go. Let's see what Matt can do. Can Matt make a move here going into the bus stop? No, not this time. You can see the battle still raging on in the background as well for 10th. And it looks like at the moment that one still belongs to Andrew Perkins. Will we see a move into the S's here? No, not this time. Corey Williamson with a great turn 10. A little bit of a tap going into turn 11, and he's going to be up the inside of Andrew Perkins this time. A little bit more side-to-side contact as they're going through that final corner. Looks like Perkins is going to have the advantage going into turn 1. But Williamson is right there, and he is hungry for a top 10 result. But there is also Brian Pizzakemi, who has just overtaken Williamson. Williamson all of a sudden just losing a lot of his pace. Not sure what's happened there. But Pizzakemi is on a charge at the moment. He doesn't want to go a lap down. There's Christian Budd just behind these guys. And he's catching up to them just as the battling is starting to get good. Just not good for Christian, but it's excellent for these guys. Also, that battle for 8th, it looks like Frank Isaacson taking the advantage and running away with it. He's got a little bit of a gap over Matt Burgess in the 12. So not sure what happened to Matt, but he's definitely lost a lot of time. Now we're looking at the 22 of Gary Waterworth, who is battling it out for P6 with Chris Champeau. They got Kyle Kraus, the lap down car, just behind them. Let's see how this will unfold for these guys now. But in a second, we will be swapping back to our leader, the 50 of Christian Budd, as he's just about to get into some more of that lap traffic that's in the middle of the battles. In fact, we're going back to him right now, because he is right on the tail of Brian Pizzicami, who is still embroiled in that battle with Andrew Perkins. The Jonathan Hernandez just behind as well. And we seem to have lost Corey Williamson. I think Williamson might have gotten a disqualification as well. So there's some food for thought as Pizzicami gets out of the way for Christian Budd. Slots in behind him. He's going to try and follow Christian Budd as he goes around Andrew Perkins. We got 5 laps left to run in this race. Christian unable to find a way around the 48 at the moment. As they both get around the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. The 78 of Pizzicami has dropped in behind the 88 of Hernandez. And Perkins is not making this easy for Christian Budd. Perkins taking the normal racing line. Christian Budd struggling to find a way around. And this is allowing the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez to close up. So we could still have a battle on for the lead here in the closing stages of this race. As this time, Perkins goes very wide through turn 1. He outbraked himself. And that is going to reignite the battle between himself and Pizzicami. In fact, Pizzicami is just taking the advantage in that little battle. That's going to be Pizzicami up into P10. First car 1 lap down. As the battle will still ensue between those two for the next couple of laps. Let's go back and check in on the battle between the 2 and the 22. You see Waterworth there driving very hard, trying to look for a way around Chris Champeau. Not going to be able to get it through the S's. If he can get a better run through the S's, he can have a look going into the bus stop. Looks like Chris Champeau here, though, getting a really good run through the S's himself. Not going to allow Waterworth to get the run that he needs. And this is going to be a battle that'll rage on until the end of the race, I would imagine. Another battle that we can have a quick little look at is between the 24 and the 12. So you had the 2 and the 22, now it's the 24 and the 12. As it looks like the 12 of Matt Burgess experimenting with some alternate dimensions, trying to find an advantage to get around Frank. Frank not going to let him have it though. Holding on to the 8th position for now. Just behind them lurking though is going to be the 50 of Christian Budd, our leader. It looks like the 88 Jonathan Hernandez having a terrible run coming out of the final corner that time, getting very sideways on the exit curb. But 2 laps left to run in this race, and it's going to be Christian's race to lose from here. Comes through the carousel for the penultimate time. And I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to the back of the 12 and the 20. Oh no, Jonathan Hernandez makes one mistake the entire race, and that has completely blotted his copybook. Let's have a look at what happened here coming out of the carousel. He got loose on the exit and hit the tyre barrier, went for a spin. Hernandez now dropping down to 3rd behind the 6 of Evan Rice. Now all the pressure is off of Christian Budd. He can just cruise for the entirety of this last lap, as now finally the 12 of Matt Burgess makes his way around to 24 of Frank Isaacson. But Hernandez will be absolutely spewing with that one mistake. The entire race, he has been running a really good race. One mistake on the penultimate lap, and that has just cost him a 2nd place and possibly a chance at the win. As Christian now comes through the final couple of corners. There was never any doubt he was being the pace setter this entire race. He was the top in the practice, he was the top in the qualifying, and he is going to be the top here in the race as well. Today's winner is the 50 of Christian Budd. P2 is going to go to the 6 of Evan Rice, and P3 will be the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. And it looks like this battle for 6 has had a change of hands as well. Gary Waterworth in the 22 has gotten around the 2 of Chris Champeau. Fourth place is going to Michael Sturgill. 5th will go to the 38 of Thomas Harmon. See Evan Rice going up to give a congratulatory bump draft to the 50 of Christian Budd. 7th is going the way of Chris Champeau. 8th will go the way of the 12 of Matt Burgess. 9th will be the 24 of Frank Isaacson. As you see, a few of the drivers here on their cool-down laps. And that's it, guys. That is the end of the race. So we had 2 DNFs in the form of Corey Williamson and Matt Horton, both getting disqualifications. and one did not start. Brian Chambliss with his electrical issues in the car before we got to the grid. There's Christian doing his big burnout. If you guys are a tier 2 sub over on the Aussie Sim Commentator Twitch channel, make sure you spam the burnout emote in chat right now. We're going to go for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will have driver interviews. So make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, guys, it is that time of the day again. It's time for our Speedway Memes Hard Charger Award. And today's Hard Charger Award winner is the 12 of Matt Burgess. Matt, congratulations on gaining 3 positions, as sarcastically as I can possibly say that. You had a bit of trouble there at the start of the race, being involved in what was one of the nastiest crashes we've seen on a road course. Uh, how was the rest of the race for you, man? And how were you able to recover?
I got turned around pretty quick. Um, Managed to not get hit by the guys behind me. I had 49 seconds of damage when I pit, but it was, it was just, it was right on the first lap. So, I just kind of took it easy, the first couple corners after the spin, just to make sure the tires weren't going to be an issue, and then just worked my way from there.
It was definitely quite the stout effort for you to gain back all the positions that you lost there early in the race. But towards the end of the race, there you're having quite the spirited little battle with Frank Isaacson for the 8th position there. What was that like battling with Frank for position when Frank's usually mired down the back of the pack a little bit?
For me, it was fun. I I shouldn't say I'm shocked that Frank was fast. Apparently he's pretty good at road courses, because I had to really. I made I'd make a little mistake, or he'd make a little mistake, and we'd kind of gap a little bit and then close back up. It wasn't until I think 2 to go where he got in a little deep on turn one, and I managed to get on the inside of him and going through the S's there on the outside. That first corner, it's hard to stick out there and get any traction, especially at that point in the race. Your tires are worn. So I was just hoping I could pull enough of a gap that if I did make a mistake, another mistake, that he couldn't get me back. But yeah, before that, it was trying to get past Andrew Perkins, and got past him. I think he finally roasted his tires, and then Frank there. I was giving everything I had just to try to get a spot where I could get by him. I was faster through the S's, but other than that, it was pretty even. Other than the S's, but faster through the S's, but he still had some speed going down the long back chute, so he could stay in front of me.
All right, now we've just seen on the screen while you were describing that your incident there on the first lap, and looked like maybe a little bit of external forces at play. There was definitely contact, but the netcode definitely pushed your right rear around there.
Yeah, when I went back and looked at it, it should have been just a light little tap, maybe wiggled me a little bit, but yeah, the net code treated it like a huge hit to the right rear, which it wasn't.
But mate, it was definitely an incredible fight back for you. But next week we're going to the Monster Mile of the Dover Speedway. The feeling like for you going into the concrete hell known as Dover.
Dover's been hit or miss with me, so hopefully it's a hit there, and I can compete towards in that top five, even possibly a win. It's gonna be tough with Thomas. He loves that track. It's basically a little bit larger Bristol, so um, if I can stick with him, then I'll know I got a shot. But otherwise, I'd like to get a top five. But I enjoy the track. It's a challenge. I think they run the low downforce with these cars now there, so that will make it interesting.
All right. Well, before we let you go here tonight, Matt, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Jaron for putting on the league, you for broadcasting, of course, as always, and then the other drivers that are here tonight. It was a lot of fun. It was challenging, and I'm ready to take a rest. That's for sure.
All right, Matt. Well, thank you very much for coming out and having a run with us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right, see you then.
All right, guys. So that was the 12 of Matt Burgess, today's Hard Charger Award winner, stealing a position away from our beloved Frank. Coming up next, we're going to have our 3rd place getter, and he's probably not going to be happy about the third place because of how well he was doing beforehand. We're talking to the incredibly unlucky today, the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. Jonathan, dude, the penultimate lap and got that little bit of a wiggle coming out of the carousel. That is so unfortunate what happened.
Yeah, it's just the tires, especially around that lap, which was I think what 17, 18. No, I'll take it back. It was like 18 or 19 laps. Uh, just around that time, the rear tires are killed. So just especially with the wheel hopping that was going on, it kills the rear tires. And so coming out of carousel, it just got loose. I tried to chase it as you saw it, and I did. And once I did, it overcorrected a bit, so I hooked it hard back right because I thought I was going to go head on into the tire barrels. And the moment I hooked it back right, it started spinning out. And the moment it touched the grass at the same time, it just slid into it. Uh, you know, it's just that's the way it is, especially with this old layout that we have, or the old rescan. We don't have the updated one, so I feel like with the updated one, I probably had a better chance of saving it. But I mean, it is what it is. Regardless, I'll still take third point the laps I led and everything. Uh, that was just the main goal right here. I knew Christian was going to be a big contender. So was Evan, and the fact that three of us, did that well today, I'll take third regardless.
It was definitely a very close battle between yourself and Christian for most of the race, including just before that first stop there where Christian, with a second and a half lead, made a mistake and you were able to get the lead back. So, what was the race like for you, just being up there battling with not just Christian but Evan Rice as well for the entirety of the race? Because it definitely looked like a lot of fun from where we were sitting.
It was intense. You know, it was you couldn't make any mistakes, as you saw. Christian wheel hop going into one, almost spun it. He caught it, but it allowed me to go past him and allowed Evan to get right on his rear bumper. When we're that, the three of us that are that good at road courses, uh, especially with this low downforce package there, uh, it's no mistakes need to be made. You need to hit your marks every single time. And I was talking to Christian about like 2 laps prior of him almost spinning it. I had the same thing. I wheel hop so bad, and I had to back up my entries going into one, and it's just turn one right there, especially with the track temp. Also, it was dangerous. If you miss your braking point just a little bit, they're gonna be right on your bumper. So it was intense. I had a lot of fun. I know Christian was wore out. He told me he was holding his breath, but it was so much fun racing Evan and Matt. Or not Matt. I'm sorry, Evan and Christian. And I seen Matt right there. That it was so much fun racing Evan and Christian. The three of us put us on the track together. We're gonna make sure it's good to watch, and regardless, uh, how the finish was, it could have been a 5 second gap from uh, Christian who won to me and Evan, or it could have been a 3 wide finish. Just us that close the entire race. You know, is something that now is rare with these cup cars.
Now let's look forward towards next week, man. We're going to the high banked concrete oval that we know as the Monster Mile of Dover. What's the feeling like for you going into the concreted hell on earth?
It's gonna be nerve wracking. We still take the low downforce package there, so of course we'll have the 750 horsepower engine with it, and I'm a think just tires are gonna be key. Uh, if you use up your stuff early, you're gonna be killed long run. But that's of course, if we do have long runs, Dover with how narrow it is and the banking all around the track, one mistake up front could lead to a massive pileup. So I think it'll be a fun race. I think it'll be another close race. Uh, Strategy will most likely come into play, depending on timing of cautions or timing of everything. Uh, but it's gonna be a interesting race for sure. And then of course after that we go to Daytona, but Daytona is always a wild card, so we'll worry about that when the time comes. But I'm ready for Dover. I like the package there. The tires are gonna be little harder on us, but I feel like it'll be something to be prepared for, be excited for, and just look forward to it.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here?
Yeah, of course. I always want to thank y'all, you, Jaron, for the league, you broadcasting it. You know, this is always fun racing. This always makes my Tuesdays, usually my week, depending if I do good. Also, I would like to thank, you know, my mom who's supported me, same as my grandparents. They support me in everything I do here. Especially, with next year, I'm making a run in Road to Pro. Uh, I like to think, my team Legacy Esports, Bobby Del Earnhardt Legacy Esports, everyone over there, who's helped me gain so much driving talent that I didn't know I had until, I was able to learn from them. And of course, our sponsors over there, a Bruiser Raceway, Butt Kicker, and we also have a new one. It is they're fairly new. They're called Oculus glasses. We're happy to have them on board, and looking forward to a wonderful rest of the year, and just ready to tackle everyone, especially with the playoffs coming up.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming out tonight. Congratulations on third, even though it probably should have been a second. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Alrighty, Corey, you take it easy.
All right, guys. So that was today's third place getter, the 88 car of Jonathan Hernandez. Again, very disappointing that he got third instead of second. But the man who benefited from Hernandez's misfortune is our next person to talk to. And of course, it is the very lucky number 6 car of Evan Rice. Evan, surprise, surprise, you end up in second place after Jonathan made a mistake. How do you feel? And what was the race like for you, being up the front battling with Christian and Jonathan for pretty much the entire race?
Uh, I'm pretty worn out. That car is pretty tough on that setup. Honestly, I didn't really like it at all. It wheel hopped a lot, especially going into turn one and the bus stop, and then in the middle of the corner, it was really hard to turn, especially on old tires. And then exiting the corner, it was loose again, so it was just all in all, a pretty bad setup to me. But yeah, I mean, I knew I really couldn't challenge Christian. I knew he was faster than me, and Jonathan was just out of that window, I guess, for the entire race. So I was kind of just riding along, trying not to wreck in third, because I I had a top three pretty safe, to say the least. And then on the second to last lap, kind of come out the carousel and and Jonathan sideways. So that was kind of sad to see, but I guess it gave us another second place on the season.
It was a very good battle that you were trying to insert yourself in towards the front with Jonathan and Christian battling away for the lead. At any point, did you think that you might have been able to stick your nose up in there and try and get a part of the battle? Or was it just trying to hold on for dear life when they started to gap you a little bit?
I think midway towards the end of the first run, Christian screwed up turn one, and Jonathan passed him, and I think he overheated his tires a lot doing that because I was able to get right on his bumper into the bus stop and through the carousel. Um, but I think I might have tapped him a couple times, but I never got alongside him because I figured he was just cooling his tires down, and eventually got away from me. And yeah, honestly, that was really the last time I was even close to either of them. I thought I might have a shot at Jonathan, uh, but he was a little bit more consistent than I thought he'd be, and held his ground until he spun, obviously. But yeah, it was. I wouldn't say a boring race because you always got to be on your toes at Watkins Glen because, like I said, the car was hard to drive. But it was never really. I never really thought I had anything for either of the top two.
All right, man. Well, before we move on to next week, we're going to Dover, the high bank concrete hell that we know as the Monster Mile. What's the feeling like for you heading into Dover next week?
Um, honestly, not great. It's probably one of my least favorite tracks. It's just the setup always seems to be really tight, and then the walls off of 2 and 4 just come at you. And so I'll probably just be hoping for a top 6 or 7 there. Just hoping I don't wreck.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
I guess just thanks to Jaren and the rest of the admins for putting on the league, and to you for the broadcast.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, man. We look forward to seeing what you can do next week, especially riding on the high of the second place here tonight.
All right, thanks.
All right, guys. So that was Evan Rice, today's very lucky second place skater, and he actually ejected himself from the voice channel before I was able to move him. So coming up next, he was the dominant car in practice, and he was the dominant car in qualifying, and that translated into just about the perfect race, but there was a couple of mistakes that creeped in. We're, of course, talking to today's winner, the 50 of Christian Budd. Christian, for a part-timer, you're pretty damn quick, aren't you?
I sure try to be. It's always fun to run these races, and I was looking forward to this one. One of the ones I had was after Sonoma, felt pretty good about, and I think it turned out to be a pretty good race all in all.
Well, it was definitely a very interesting race to watch, especially that first stint with Jonathan being pretty close to you. Dropped back to about that second and a half, but from what the other guys are saying, you got a little bit of wheel hop going into turn one, which was what allowed Jonathan to get around you there.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened there. We had several test sessions during the week, and they were all cooler temperatures and everything. And wheel hop was a bit of an issue in the tests. And then today we just got a lot hotter temperature on the track, and um, I was able to dial it out in the test sessions with the brake bias, but really couldn't do that. And it was pretty treacherous the whole race.
It definitely looked like a treacherous race. In fact, with Jonathan Hernandez getting caught up on the penultimate lap, were you worried at any point that you might have ended up doing the same thing as Jonathan did on the second last lap there, and just slip that a little bit wide in any of the corners?
Definitely. You're always with these road courses, you start to get a little bit of a lead, and that can really, put you into kind of a false sense of security, because you can't let up. You got to be paying attention the whole time, and especially with just the braking zones at Watkins Glen are so heavy, and you can make up or lose so much time in them that you can't really just back off and decide I'm just going to take it easy, because the guys will catch you. So you got to be pushing hard the whole time. And it was, once I was able to get it over a second gap, then I could make the small mistakes and not worry about them too much. But you just never know. And then with the lap traffic at the end, I think one guy spun out in front of me, and stuff can happen really quick.
Oh, definitely can, and you just proved to be, so consistent throughout the entire race. And as I said, you topped qualifying, you topped practice, and you topped the race, and you even got the fastest lap of the race at a 1:10.541, which for race pace is incredible.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the time I was able to make up was in the S's, and didn't really feel like I had big advantages on the other areas. Um, you know, but the S's seemed to be where I could make up the most ground on those guys, and um, so even after I, overheated my tires and everything, that was kind of what kept me in it, and I could get back to Jonathan a little bit, and he was real aggressive and real fast tonight. And it was a really fun racing with him. He took the lead from me on the start. I didn't lead the first lap, and he took that from me. And you know, but it was awesome to do. And then Evan was up there. I really felt like those two guys were going to be the biggest competition. Evan showed himself to be a really good road racer over in Sonoma. Jonathan's fast everywhere, but he's been really good on the road courses as well. And so it's really a pleasure to get to race with those guys, and we were pretty clean, and it was pretty fun.
All right, man. Now, next week we're going to Dover. Not sure whether you're going to be racing or not. We will be in the short track package, so pretty much the same package as what we've got here. What's it feeling like for you with this car at Dover, and what's the chances we're going to be seeing you racing next week?
Yeah, I definitely want to be there. Dover has been really a fun track in the past. I will say the high downforce package I didn't like there. I didn't think that suited that track properly. And the last time we were there, it was low downforce, but the setup that we had was just so bad. It was so tight. You just couldn't drive the car the way I really expected it would. So we're just gonna have to see how this looks when we get there. With the recent tire changes they've made, these things have a lot more grip, which isn't really what I like at Dover. I like Dover to be sliding around and loose. So hopefully we'll get that, but part of that's going to be temperature related. But it's a fun track, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, before we let you go here tonight, Christian, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, so Output Racing, of course, Jaron putting on this league for all of us. It's just awesome racing. All the guys who show up every week, definitely Jonathan and Evan tonight for making this a fun race, and also our sponsor, which I think is AK Racing.
Indeed, it is.
And we need these sponsors. Sponsors help us race, and I really appreciate everybody who's put money into the league and helps out there as well. So, and of course you for doing these broadcasts. They're always just fun to go back and see what I couldn't see during the race.
All right, no worries, man. Well, thank you for coming out here tonight. Congratulations on another emphatic victory. And we look forward to seeing you again next week when we hit the high bank concrete oval of the Monster Mile at Dover.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. So that was today's winner, the 50 car of Christian Budd. And what an emphatic victory it was. But with that comes the end of our interviews now. So, thank you guys for coming out. We're only a couple of rounds away from starting the playoffs now. And, it's definitely going to be heating up a lot. We're going to take 16 cars into the playoffs. And, it's going to be all craziness from there. So make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled on this channel for when the playoffs do start happening. Because that's when all the racing intensity will be increased. But until next week when we go to Dover, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator, and I will say ciao for now.